everyone. Welcome back for the next session of Friendship with God. And last time I kind of introduced the whole subject of friendship with God and what that means. And today we're going to dig in a little deeper in what friendship with God means and how that's going to help you actually sharpen your listening skills to hearing His voice and just having that greater intimacy level with the Lord. And so let's go to John chapter 3, verse 29. And this is when John the Baptist is actually talking about Jesus coming. And he says, "He who has the bride is the bridegroom. But the friend of the bridegroom," being John, "who stands and hears him, rejoices greatly because of the bridegroom's voice." Rejoices greatly because of the bridegroom's voice. So John was a friend of the Lord. He was a friend of Jesus. He was a friend of the Messiah, the King. And we know that God the Father was fully manifest in Jesus. And so what he's saying here is, I am his friend, and because I'm his friend, I stand and I hear him. How many of you know if you hear his voice, you can stand in any situation? You don't get knocked down. You don't even stumble. You're standing firmly because you hear his voice. And that's what a friend does. And so John was his friend. So John was expecting him. He had this heart of expectancy and this heart of, I'm going to be listening for every word that he says. And then he rejoiced greatly because of his voice. We have a reason to rejoice every time we connect with the Father, and every time we hear his voice, we have reason to rejoice, because you know what? He looks for those places where we're called to that maybe we haven't even considered. You know, a lot of people are like, well, what am I called to do? What is my destiny? What is my purpose? And if we tune into his voice, we're going to tap into that. And oftentimes it may not be what you expected. And so sometimes I actually propose that some people may say they want to hear, but they really don't want to hear, because the Lord stretches us outside of our comfort zones. And so what he has to tell us is weighty, but it's so good. Everything he says to us is so good for us, and he knows better than we do for ourselves. And so he goes on to say, "Therefore this joy of mine is fulfilled because Jesus came." The joy of hearing his voice is the fulfillment of our purpose. When we connect with him as his sheep, because in John chapter 10 it says that his sheep hear his voice. We are sheep, and so we can hear him. And so this is just a very powerful thing, because our joy doesn't come from circumstances. Our joy doesn't come from a job or a position or a job title. It doesn't come from any of those things, but it comes from this place called friendship with God. And out of that place, we get to connect with the Father's voice, and we get to hear him. And so many of you could be going through different circumstances, having different opportunities that you're kind of looking at and saying, okay, which way do I go? Be a friend of the Lord. He's your friend too, but listen to him. He has so much to speak into that situation that you're in. So I want to welcome you back for the next session where we're going to go into this even deeper. But I want to encourage you to connect with the Father today in greater intimacy. I also want to welcome you to connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and also on our website, HeSpeaksMinistries.com. And I want to encourage you and welcome you to partner with us to get this message out even more. Thank you, and have a blessed day.